Hello all. Today we will learn about for loop and for of in TypeScript. First, let's open the TypeScript playground in Chrome. Now, suppose we need to print from 1 to 10. To do this, if we type console.log for 10 times, it will not be feasible, right? If we go on like this, it will not be feasible, right? Till 10. So what can we do? So for loop, in this case, we can use for loop. So let's use it first, then I will explain how it works. So in this way, in just 2 lines of code, we can print from 1 to 10 without writing console.log 10 times. So how does for loop works? Let's see. So this is the syntax of for loop, right? So if we look closely, in this first bracket, it has 3 parts: the initialization, the condition, and the increment and decrement. Okay, and this portion is the statement portion. You can say it's the boundary of the for loop. So first, what for loop does is it initializes I, right? So we are giving I equal to 1. The memory will initialize I is equal to 1. So the value of I is 1. Now the second thing it will do, it check the condition, this condition, whether I is less than 11, whether this condition is true or false. Is it true? Yes, it is true, because I equal to 1, 1 is less than 11. If it is true, then it will go to the statement and it will execute all the statements which are inside of this its boundary. So it will print 1, it will console.log 1. Okay, now after printing it, what will do? It will do the third thing in the bracket. It will increment. If it was decrement, then it will do decrement, and if it now in this case it is increment, so it will increment I. So next the value of I will be what? It will be 2, right? After increment, it will go to the condition, right? Next thing, after the value of I2, it will check is 2 is less than 11. Yes, it is less than 11, so it is true. Now it will again execute the statement, right? See the flow chart. It will again execute the statement. And what is the statement? Console.log I. That means 2 will be printed. Now again the thing follows. It will increment and the condition check and the statement. Increment, condition check. If it is true, then statement. It will go on like this till 10. Because why? Because the second part is given I less than 11. After 10, when it will increment it, the value of I, the value of I becomes 11. And when it checks the condition, this condition, it will give a false result. When it is false, it will not execute its boundary. So this is how the for loop works. Now we will learn about for of. So first let's take an array called sum array, which will have element 1, India and true. So we need to iterate over this array. Let me show you something. Console.log sum array. I hope you all know this about this. If we print in the console like this, sum array 0, what will it print? It will simply print the first element, right? If we print 1, what will it give? It will give the second element, right? And if we give it 2, it will print the third element. So the first element's position in any array is what? 0. And it's gone like that. First element is 0, second element is 1, third element is 2, like that. Yeah. So remember this. Now let's use for loop to iterate over this, right? We need to do the same thing. We need to print from 1 to true using for loop. So let's use for loop for variable I is equal to, what is the initialization? What will be the initialization here? Yes. So the initialization will be 0, right? Because what? The first position is 0. Till what? Till what? I will iterate till less than 3, right? The first position is what? I will be 0. The second position I will be 1, and third position is what? I will be 2. We will iterate till 2. That means less than 3. Or we can say sum array dot length. Why? Because the length of the array is 3 and we need to iterate till less than 3. And last part is what? Increment. Okay, now console.log sum array. What can we give here? We will give it what? I, right? Because why? It will iterate from 0 to 2. The value of I here will be first what? 0. In the second iteration it will be 1, and in the third iteration the value of I will be 2. Now let's run this. See, we are getting the same output. So using for loop we can do it like this. Now let's see how can do it using for of. Let's comment this out. So for let element of sum array. So we are iterating over sum array, right? Over this sum array. So that is why we are giving here sum array. And we can give this thing anything. You can give it I, you can give it element, you can give this name anything, you can give it X, right? Now console.log, what will be here? Guess what will be here? Here it will be X. If you give it element, if you give this element, then we need to change it here also. Okay, now let's run this. See, we are getting the same result. So I hope you all understand this, you get these things. See you in the next video.